This is the original DEVOS Lightranger 1200, one of the most popular camp lights in the overland and off-road community. But then DEVOS decided to make it better by releasing this, the DEVOS Lightranger 2000. So today we're going to answer the question, if you already have the 1200, should you upgrade to the 2000? Or if you don't have any of them, which one should you get? Spoiler alert, get mine, because I'm way better than this guy. Dude, we're literally the same person. Yeah, I disagree. So many moons ago, I did a review on this, the DEVOS Lightranger 1200. And this is one of those camp lights that have become really popular with the overland and off-road community. In fact, when I was at the Southeast Adventure Vehicle Expo, these were everywhere. And I think the reason why people really gravitated to this camp light is because it's small, it's compact, but it throws out a lot of light. But since the release of this light, there have been a ton of really great criticism from users on how DEVOS could improve this light even more. And like I said in my past videos, one thing that I look for in a company is, are they willing to listen to the users and then take those things into consideration when they're redesigning it for the next version? And that's exactly what they did when they released this, the DEVOS Lightranger 2000. So today we're going to talk about this light, basically the improvements DEVOS has made based off of the criticisms they got from the first version, and we'll answer the question, which one of these should you get? 2000! Or if you already have the 1200, should you upgrade to the 2000? Yes, you should. So the very first criticism was the fact that the 1200 only comes in white, and if you want to change the colors on it, you have to buy their filter kit separately, and the filter kit comes with 3 different colors. You have amber, you have yellow, and you have red. So you just take one of them and plug that on, and then you'll have your amber light. But DEVOS figured out, you know what, let's make that even better, because with the 2000 you have your white light, and then you can toggle through the different colors. You can go from white to amber to red without changing a thing. Oh my god, this is like fidget worthy. Now, as far as performance, the original one has 1200 lumens, whereas the new one boasts 2000 lumens. And I wanted to see just how big of a difference that was. So on my last trip, I took both of these lights with me, set them up at camp, and then I took some drone shots to kind of see just how much better this might be. Now, as far as light output is concerned, you'll be able to tell from the drone shots that the 2000 is definitely brighter. Not a whole lot brighter, because the 1200 is still really highly capable, but the 2000, you can tell at full power that this was still brighter than this. Now, as far as coverage though, like how big of a light you're going to get, I didn't really see a big difference there. It was pretty much the same circumference around both of these, and I wasn't really expecting this to have a larger area, simply because the way the lights are angled, they're both the same, so I knew it was going to shine down towards the same area. So if you're looking for wider coverage, they're going to give you really wide coverages, but the 2000 is not any better than the 1200. Now, the second biggest criticism was the fact that the 1200 didn't have like a remote or like some sort of app control. If you've never owned one of these, you may not think that that's a big deal, or if you keep this low to the ground, it may not be a big deal. But when you're putting this on the stand and raising it 9 feet in the air, turning this on and off can get a little bit cumbersome because you got to bring the light down, turn it on, and then bring it back up, and then later when you're going to bed you got to bring it back down. However, on the 2000, DEVOS still didn't give us a remote, but they did give us an app, and the app actually works really good. So all you got to do is download the app. As long as the light is on, you'll be able to pair it, it'll find it, and then you just add it. I already have it added onto here, and then this is the interface that you'll see. You'll see that right now this Lightranger 2000 is at 75%, so it gives you true data on how much power is left. So there's no more guesswork like you had to do with this one. Below that, you have the 3 different colors. You have white, you have amber, and you have red. And then below that, you can actually click off each one of these and it'll do that for you. And then below that, you have this brightness setting here. You can basically go from brightness all the way down to a little dimmer. If you want to turn it off, go ahead and turn it off. Now, as far as physical appearance goes, you'll notice that the 2000 is slightly bigger than the 1200. The 2000 is also slightly heavier than the 1200 because this also has a larger battery. This is running 2000 lumens versus the 1200 lumens that's in the original. At the top, the new version still has the same tab with the hole on it. That's for you to hang these with a hook somewhere or to attach some of their accessories, which we'll go over a little bit later. The new one has these cooling fins all along the top. It's the same kind of cooling fins you find in the back of off-road lights. Again, you're running about 2000 lumens off of this thing and it's going to get hotter quicker, and you need a way to dispel that heat, and that's what these cooling fans will do. As far as power buttons, on the original 1200 you only have the one button, and that basically turns on the light, and you click it a few times and that basically goes from 4 to 2 to 1. The new one has the same power button and that turns it on, same thing, but the other button allows you to change the color, so it can go from amber to red and back to white. Speaking of lights, each of these have 3 rows of lights on every single side. The 1200 has 3 rows of white, whereas the 2000 has 3 different rows of 3 different colors. You have your red, you have your white, and you have your amber. Now, USB ports have not changed locations. They're still at the very bottom and they're still both USB-C. As far as the base, you'll notice that the 1200 has a circular base, whereas the 2000 has a square base. And on that base, you'll see the holes for you to mount this to the stand. Now, the way DEVOS placed those holes, they made sure that no matter what stand you have from them, either of the lights are gonna fit on any of their stands. So this is the new stand and that's the old light and it fits. Here I have the old stand and the new light and that fits as well. If they could, at the very bottom, like somewhere deep in there, it would be nice to have like a 1/4-20 thread. That way, if you have like a tripod or anything else that has like a 1/4-20 bolt at the end of it, you can kind of screw it into that. Here's a perfect example. So this is my mini tripod from Manfrotto, has a 1/4-20 bolt on it. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a 1/4-20 at the bottom of this that you can kind of screw in and now you kind of have a light like that? I just think that would just be a really nice touch to be able to mount your lights to things that have a 1/4-20 bolt on it. Speaking of stands, that got a major upgrade as well. I feel like when they first came out with the DEVOS light, they wanted to just provide a stand that you could put it on, and they give you pretty much like a standard light stand. In fact, it's the same kind of light stand I have here in the studio. But ever since then, they made a stand that is actually more suited for you to use outdoors for their lights. One, you'll notice that the new stand is much thicker than the old one. The stem of this is a lot more robust, it's a lot beefier, it's a lot more heavy duty. There's also a ton of little details on here that just make it feel more like a DEVOS stand. Like you have all these little DEVOS icons like on here, and then you also have the DEVOS logo on the stem itself. And then some improvements that they made is the deployment of this thing. It's a lot faster, whereas the original stand, you would just turn this knob and then kind of open it like this and then tighten the knob. It doesn't take long, and I've never had issues with the stand at all. It's never fallen over. But the new one, it just has like a little clamp right there, and that allows you to slide it down, lock it into place, and then pull out the legs. These legs though, I will say, the one thing that I didn't like too much is that these legs tend to snap back, and I have pinched my fingers many times. Just be very careful when pushing these things back in, because you'll notice, watch, So if you have a kid that's gonna deploy this or put it away, just make sure they don't get their fingers kind of caught up in here, because it just kind of catches you unexpectedly. Now what's really cool though is at the bottom of these legs, they now have these loops that you can put your stake through. So if you want to stake this down on the ground, you can definitely do that to create more stability. I really like that they took the time to improve the stand. You know, most companies are going to improve the product, but they sometimes overlook all the other stuff. And DEVOS wanted to make sure that not only did they improve the light, they also improved the stand that it goes on so that it can withstand all the different kind of environments that we put it in. You know, we're outside, it can get a little windy, and they made sure that this stand is beefier, a lot more heavy duty, and you can stake it down. Now the stand wasn't the only thing that got upgraded, they also upgraded the case as well. I'm really liking this case a lot because the case that came with the 1200 was just like a nylon case and you slip it from one end and there's a drawstring, whereas this one is like a legit case made of canvas. And then I also like the little details like the leather patch with their logo on it, and then it opens up the long way. Instead of you slipping the light through one end, you can open this up completely. It also has a carry strap if you want to carry it around, and on both ends you have these straps if you want to carry it that way. Inside the case there's also this little pocket, and in here are all the accessories that I have my charging cable, got my plug, and then they also provide you with some stakes if you want to stake your stand down. Now this case fits this 2000 with the stand perfectly without you having to take everything apart. It just goes right on in, and what you end up with is a really compact package that you can basically slip into your cargo area and not take up a lot of room at all. Now if you are going to be carrying more than one light, then I would suggest that you upgrade the case to the more heavy duty one that can carry 2 lights. This is the case that I've had for a while, and this was made before the 2000 came out, and this is designed to hold 2 1200 lights. There's a divider in here. You can put one light here, the other light there. There's also this really wide pocket here, and this is for you to put their solar panels or whatever accessories you might have. The issue I've been having though is that the 2000 unit is a lot taller than the 1200 unit, so getting this light to fit inside this case can be a bit of a challenge. I mean, it will fit, you just have to really jam it in there, and when you do, it does become a little bit difficult to close the lid on this and get the zipper going. What I found the best way to do this is to take this off of the stand, and you can kind of put it next to it like that, and then it'll fit just fine. So speaking of accessories, there are a bunch of accessories you can buy to build up your kit. DEVOS has a myriad of them, from like solar panels, and here I have like an extra battery and the motion sensor. If you already own some of these accessories because you bought it for the 1200, rest assured it still works with the 2000 as well. You just basically put this on like you did before, and you'll be able to charge this thing up with this. You just have to get that USB-C cable that goes from this to the bottom of this thing. But my favorite accessory I feel is the motion sensor, because prior to having the 2000 with the app control and all that good stuff, all I had was the 1200, and what I would do is I would tie the motion sensor to the 1200 and then put this about 9 feet into the air, and then I would place it somewhere close to the entrance of our rooftop tent. Then anytime we came around that area, the light would turn on and illuminate that area so that when we're going up the ladder, we can see our way into the tent. Once we're inside the tent, and after a while, the light will turn off. It's also really useful to have this at night, because if you have any kind of like large animals or even people coming by the camp that aren't supposed to be there, then the light will turn on, just like you would have maybe at the driveway of your home. So my plan of action is to still carry both lights to camp. The 1200, I'm going to keep the amber cover on here, and then I'm going to use this as my overall scene lighting the way I always have. I'm going to put it on a stand, put it about 9 feet up into the air, put the motion sensor on it, and put it near my rooftop tent entrance. That way, anytime we come around that area, it illuminates that area so that we can go up and down the ladder safely. But also, this will help warn me through the night if any unwanted visitors stray too close to our campsite. The 2000, I'm going to put that on a stand as well, but it won't be super high up. It's probably going to be maybe 5 or 6 feet off the ground, and it'll be my main work light for cooking or for whatever else I need a light for, because it's app controlled and I can change the colors and I can turn it on and off as I need it. In short, the 2000 is going to be my work light that I'm constantly controlling, whereas the 1200 is my set it and forget it light. Put a motion sensor to it, leave it alone, and that's that. Now, price point for both of these, when the 1200 first came out, it was being sold for $259.99. Since the release of the 2000, this has dropped to $209.99. The 2000 starting price for this is $249. So it's actually cheaper than when this one first came out. Now, for some of you, $210 and $249 might be a bit steep for a camp light. So I'm going to tell you this as if I'm not sponsored by DEVOS. I think it's worth it. And ask anyone else who owns a Lightranger who's not sponsored by DEVOS. They'll tell you that they love their Lightranger because it really becomes your one and done light. In every camp video that you've probably seen me post, this was in that video just because I've loved using it. So if you want to get one camp light and call it a day, I would suggest getting a DEVOS Lightranger. Whichever one is up to you, but if you ask me, go for the 2000. It has way more features and it's only, what, $30 more? Actually, $40, and you get the newer version, a lot brighter, a lot more functionality, a better stand for it, a better case for it. If you're gonna go for it, go for this one. If you have this one already and you feel like you need another light, then yeah, maybe you may want to upgrade. I like the 2000 much better because they did listen to all of our criticisms and improved upon it a ton. But anyway, that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it helped you decide which Lightranger to get if you've been kind of toying around with the idea of buying one, or if you have the 1200, whether or not you should upgrade to the 2000. If you found this video helpful, please make sure you smash, actually don't smash, just rave to that like button. I'm telling you, fidget factor. Subscribe to our channel, click that notification bell so we can let you be aware of new videos when they come out. And if it moves you, support us on Patreon. It gives you access to all of our videos before everyone else and gives you access to our live streams when we do them. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at BeastofBurden4601. My name is Asia Samson, and I will see you next time. All right, one more time.